All right, everybody. We're back with some more SimCity 2000. Today, I'm going to be playing the Chicago scenario. The time is 1999. The industrial sector is leaving, and major pollution lingers in the windy city. Clean up the pollution and build up the industrial population to 44,000. You have 10 years to win this scenario. Let's go. So right off the bat, we have a chemical spill in the Chicago Loop area. So I'm just going to dispatch firefighters, and hey, it's that superhero guy. So, yeah, it doesn't take much for it to go away, but this is where, the scenario begins. We can see that fire stations are on the docket right now, and so we're going to pause the scenario, and let's keep that in mind. But first I want to just take a zoom out and look at the city from afar. So yeah, you can tell there's a lot of abandoned buildings. All the buildings have gone dark, and we can see that the industrial demand rather is it is like rock bottom. So we're gonna do something about that right away. But before we do anything else, I do want to turn off disasters. Just because, the point of this video is to show you how to beat the scenario. I don't want to necessarily contend with a bunch of disasters. So let's just decrease the industrial tax rate to 0%. And we'll increase it back later once the demand has turned around. And I'm just going to increase residential and commercial a little bit, just to make up for some of the lost revenue. All right. So yeah, going back to the city, the first thing I want to turn our attention to is some of the buildings in this city. Namely, if we just take a look at this corner of the city, for example, notice how many schools there are. And yeah, it's not necessary to have this many schools, especially schools across the street from other schools. What is this, Starbucks? So I'm going to, and you can see just how much of the budget each year having this many schools costs. So we don't need that many. So I'm going to start by bulldozing all the schools on the edge of the map. Okay, and that should do it. Now, if I take a look at the school's data layer, I can see just how many are remaining. And the yellow areas are areas that we just bulldozed. So we can see just how many schools are left. I'm going to turn my focus now to this section of the city, and we're going to get rid of most of the schools because, we don't need most of them here. And I'm going to keep, let's see, this one, that one, and this one. So we'll keep 3 schools. Perfect. Yeah, as for the rest of the city, I'm just gonna get rid of any schools that are across the street from each other, like this, for example. And these two here, get rid of one. You know what? Let's get rid of both of them because they're already, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 schools. So we only need, let's say, 2 of them. Okay. And finally, let's take a look over here. And we'll get rid of this. And do I want to get rid of any more? Honestly, it wouldn't hurt. There's just so many that we don't need. So I'm going to continue that one, that one, that one, and that one. And we're leaving this one and this one. Okay. And there's still probably too many. I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to the next task, which is bolstering our fire protection. So if I look at the fire department's data layer, we can see that there's only 1, 2, 3 fire departments in the whole city. That is not nearly enough. So yeah, we can see that the protection is pretty poor. So I'm going to start by adding one in this section of the city here. And we'll just build a fire station here. And I'm going to make sure that it's powered. I see that there's power lines, but of course parks don't carry power. So I built a power line there just to make sure. Now I've built one fire station. I'm going to build at least one more. And I'll do that right here. And let's build one in this spot here. Chicago Stadium. Not the Wrigley Field, not the United Center, just Chicago Stadium. Okay, yeah, let's build... I think we're good for fire departments for now. So what I want to do next is start the simulation, and I just want to make sure that all of our power didn't get knocked out, because I realized that some of the schools may have been connecting the power grid. So I just want to make sure that, yeah, and see, just as I thought, let's make sure everything is powered. And I do see the new message that says industry needs connections. So that's going to be the next order of business. Okay, that should do it for now. And we're probably going to develop these zones later, so I'm not going to bulldoze the rubble. I'm not going to worry too much about that, because we will be rezoning. Now, as for those neighbor connections, I see the city has a rail system, but there's no connections to the outside, so I'm going to build one here. As well, the rail system, I think it goes out of town on this side of the city as well. Yes, so I'm going to do the same here. And I'm just going to make this look a little nicer. I don't need a connection there. There we go. Now the station is completely adjacent with the railway. Looks a lot better. So we have this highway by the lakeshore. I guess this would be Lakeshore Drive in the famous Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. So we're going to make a neighbor connection there, as well as the other side here. Okay, now I do want to do one more thing before I restart the simulation. And I want to turn my attention to the outskirts of the city, where we have a lot of abandoned neighborhoods. So, on the outskirts is a perfect place for to zone some more industrial. And I realize the demand is still like in the negatives, but it's going to turn around. So in anticipating that, I'm gonna start zoning more industrial, and then we'll see the demand rise after. But for now, I'm just gonna demolish some of these neighborhoods, these derelict neighborhoods at the edge of the city. Just like that. And there's one thing that I was kind of like reluctant or hesitant to get into, is the water system in the city, because it is a mess. And you may have noticed that there are these water pumps in the middle of, not in the middle, but in the corner of many of these city blocks. But these water pumps are not connected to a larger grid, and it's not nearly enough water to sustain the city. So we're going to revamp that a little bit as well. But that's on our to-do list right now. At the moment, I just want to focus on rezoning. So that's what I'll do. And of course, making sure that the power is connected like that. All right, this whole city block here can be demolished since it's all abandoned. So that's what I'll do. And we'll rezone that as well. Okay, now rezone all of this that I demolished earlier. And ensure that the power is all connected. For the power lines, I'm going to go a little bit above and beyond, just to make sure that we don't have pockets of the city that aren't connected to the grid. Okay, and yeah, there's some more space over here as well. And typically I don't like to zone industrial right next to residential, so put a bit of commercial here instead. And if I have to put industrial in the middle of all this this residential neighborhood, I'll just zone some light industrial. I didn't actually mean to take out that water pump, but it wasn't very efficient anyway. None of these water pumps are efficient. They're all, none of them are connected to or are next to any fresh water sources, so they're borderline useless. Okay, gonna continue zoning some light industrial since we are in the neighborhoods of residential here. Just gonna put a couple more small parks there. Okay, and that should be pretty good for now. There's too many schools in this this area here, so I'll put something else there. Okay. Now, oh, missed a spot. Put some commercial there. Gonna restart the simulation. Just making sure that everything has power. So I see that, and of course it does take a couple months in game for power to be restored. So we'll give it a couple months. For now, it looks like the budget screen has popped up. I'm just going to close it because there's something I want to come back to this momentarily. And yes, this is why one of our coal power plants is going to be decommissioned at the end of this year, actually. So I can show you which one it is. It's this one here by the river. So let's go back to the budget screen for a sec, and let's take out a loan. We're going to need this money to build a new power plant. And while we're here, just want to see what my advisors are saying. Crime is at an all-time low. You already know what that means. Fire response is adequate. Okay. So we're in decent shape now, whereas before we only had the 3 fire stations, and all of the other advisors are happy. So let's close the budget window, and this power plant is going to be decommissioned anyway by the end of the year 2000. So I'm just gonna give us a nice upgrade and build a nuclear power plant. And these zones need power. And something I just noticed as well, this section of rail is just, it's not connected to the rest of the rail network. So I don't know why that's here, but I'm going to demolish it. And we're going to put some industrial zones in its place. Okay, now we can finally unpause the simulation, and let's just look around. I want to make sure that our power is restored. Let's put something there. Yeah, this part of the city looks pretty good now, and it's going to take some time for the industrial demand to turn around, which it seems like it already is. That's the beauty of 0% taxes. And I'm just going to make sure that everything else I see that needs power has power. I'm going to zone some commercial there instead. Okay, yeah. This is a bit of a problem here. Put some commercial there, and then we'll put some industrial here, 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 and here. Now, I do want to manage the clock a bit because we only have 10 years to complete the scenario. And we need to increase our industrial population to 44,000. So right now, our industrial population is 20,000 or 16,000 or 21,000, depending on which time scale you choose. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, yeah, probably the biggest project that we're going to need to undertake for this scenario, at least for me, is the waterfront, because it is ugly. It needs a lot of redevelopment. So I'm going to focus on that. And you may have noticed here, this section of the highway is interrupted by a building. And I don't care if this is the Sears Tower or this is supposed to be the Sears Tower. I want my highway to be uninterrupted, so I'm going to rebuild this now. Speaking of the Sears Tower, I was listening to the Bill Burr podcast recently, and he was talking about when he visits Chicago, or any tourists visit Chicago, they always go up to the Sears Tower. They go up to the top of the Sears Tower, and he was saying, you know, why would you go up to the top of the Sears Tower if you're in Chicago? The only thing you're going to get out of it is you're going to see all the stuff that you should be doing instead. So I thought that was pretty funny. Let's get back to our waterfront here, because like I said, it's a total mess. You have these roads that go nowhere, and all these zones that won't develop, pretty much basically because of the lack of transportation and the lack of like balance of zones, of other zones. So there's a lack of transportation to these commercial zones over here, for example. So we're gonna fix that. So I'm just gonna rebuild that road here. And so now this is connected somewhat better. And of course I do want to make sure that our power lines are connected. So that already should help things over here. But I do want to continue to add roads, so we'll build a big road like that. And just going to destroy that for now. And I do want to connect this road like that. So that'll help things. That'll help our traffic grid as well. Another thing that we need to do for this waterfront, you can see that this lake, there's something peculiar about it. Even though it says it's Lake Michigan, this lake is actually a sham. Because if I look underground, this is all just surface water. This lake doesn't actually go off the map. So that means I can't build a seaport, but what it does mean is that I can bulldoze the water. So let's reclaim a bit of this land. And this is actually known as infill. In cities where the shoreline is literally filled in with land so that it can be developed. And a good example of this is in Toronto, where I'm originally from. The whole Harbourfront, Queens Quay area by Lake Ontario is infill. The shoreline actually used to be a lot different. So I'm going to continue to do that, and we're just going to make like a strip of land 3 tiles wide. And I do want to do something about the lack of transportation to our airport here, so just going to get rid of that for now. And I'm going to restore power later, but I do want to kind of change the way that this looks, so okay, let's do that. And we'll do something like that. Now let's make a road that extends from here. Let's do something like that. And then we'll loop back like that. That makes more sense, like a road that goes to the terminals, to the airport terminals. Yeah, not totally necessary, but I like a little bit of realism. And another thing we're going to need for this highway is a lot more highway on-ramps, because I'm only seeing one, and there's, yeah, this highway, it's underutilized. The on-ramps help with, you know, cars to get on and off the highway, as you can see here. So, in order for traffic to actually utilize our highway, we're going to need a lot more on-ramps. So, let's start over here. Gonna build one there, one on the opposite corner here, and we'll do the same thing over here. Great. All right. Now we can finally start to zone all this, and I do want to extend it one more tile out like that, and we'll connect the roads like this. Let's restore the power like that to the airport. And continue to zone, making sure that everything has power. Looks like I've run out of money. We are going to take one more loan. All right. Now I want to build a road here as well, just like that, so that these zones in the middle will develop. Zones can't be further than 3 tiles away from roads. And let's just change this to a little bit of commercial there. And yeah, this is looking all right for now, but it's going to take some more work, especially over here. So we'll unpause the simulation and let's go to the end of year 2000. Alright, looks like everything there has power, but this is missing power, so you know what we have to do. Okay, so this should have power shortly. And things are starting to take shape. Now it's almost the end of the year. Taking a look at our industrial population, we're up to 22,000. And look at our demand. Demand for industry is skyrocketing. So that means when the budget window pops up at year end 2000, we can increase the industrial taxes. Make sure that everything is powered. Chicago blasts off. So this is when your population reaches 90,000. A commemorative bronze llama dome will soon tower over Chicago. Cool. So let's do some budget stuff. Like I said, I want to raise our industrial taxes back up to 7%. Let's make everything 7% because I do want to start turning a profit. I don't want to take out any more loans. Looks like we could use another fire department, so we'll keep that in mind as we continue to develop the waterfront. So like I said, I wanted to continue developing this stretch of the waterfront up to here. So let's do that. We're going to start by doing the same thing, and we'll bulldoze 4 tiles, a strip of land 4 tiles wide. Fortunately, it only costs $1 per tile, compared to surface water costs $100 per tile. This is much cheaper. All right. So I'm going to do something like this and like that. Put an on-ramp there. And let's see, what else do I want to do? Oh yes, let's build a fire station. Put down a little bit of light commercial next to it there. And the rest of this will be dense industrial. Now this yacht club is looking pretty sad, so I'm going to redevelop this. I'm not going to have industrial there next to our yacht club. Instead, let's put our house here. I know, living right next to the highway, but it's fine. Going to build a road here. Okay. Of course, we got to make sure that everything is powered. Like that. Okay, let's unpause the simulation. And we're up to 28,000 industrial population. So 16K to go. I do want to use this space and take this opportunity to build another highway on-ramp here. That's better. Now, we'll turn our attention to this section of the waterfront. And we're going to make it a whole lot better when we're finished. So let's bulldoze some more water here. And we'll do the same sort of thing. 3 or 4 tiles of land in between the water and the highway. And let's connect all the way to this road here. So we'll do something like that. All right, not too shabby. And now this area of the map, I don't quite understand what the previous mayor was thinking here. For instance, there's a desalination plant which uses salt water to turn it into potable drinking water. However, this is all fresh water here, so we don't really need this. And I'm also going to get rid of these random buildings. And I'm going to put down some surface water just to connect the lake. Just, you don't have to do this, but just for aesthetic purposes. I do want to rezone this, so I'll just destroy a couple buildings there. And as you can see, we're back in the black. We're turning a profit, a healthy profit. And I think all of our demand is all of our demand for all zones is looking rather good. So I'm going to leave the taxes where they're at, and all of our advisors are happy. So that's good. Okay. Yes, back to the order of business. Actually, I'm going to put water there because I do want to eventually deal with this situation. And yeah, it's not pretty. This is really bad, actually. And so I'm not going to waste this whole video's runtime fixing the water grid, but I'm going to show you just, what it looks like when we start to take care of things a little bit better. And I don't want to waste all our money on this either, so I'm just going to do that for now. And I'm going to start to connect our grid. And when I say grid, I use that term loosely because this city doesn't have much of anything, any water grid to speak of. There's no pipes underground. It's just what you see, all these random water pumps. And it's not like imperative that you do this to complete this scenario, but what I do is I just, if I'm working in a certain area of the city, I'll just take a look underground and I'll build some pipes, and then I'll leave it alone and come back to it later. So that's what we'll do here. And yeah, I'm just doing this like a real quick and dirty job, but yeah, it'll be a little bit better than when we started. Okay, just want to connect all the existing pumps. Well, not all of them, but as many as we can. Okay, now our waterfront seems to be developing rather well. Except for this part. So what I'm going to do here, just zone a bit of commercial just to introduce some other zones into the mix. Chicago booming properly. So our population has reached 120,000. From 90,000 to 120,000 in the matter of a few short years. Now back to our waterfront. Yeah, so we're just going to continue to develop, I'd say, this section from here to about here. And I'll show you what that looks like. And checking in on our industrial population, we're up to 35,000. Just want to make sure that all of our city services are keeping pace with our population. Alright, let's pause the game and let's get to work. Now I just want to demolish any roads that look kind of unnecessary. So if I see anything like that, then that's what I'll do. But what is necessary is to get some roads going underneath the highway, just to get to the other side of the highway. And I also want to keep an eye on our cash reserves. Just make sure I don't run out of funds mid-year. Even though we're pulling a healthy profit, I do want to be a little bit smart about it. Okay, this seems like a good place to put a road there. And let's take the opportunity to build an on-ramp. Where did I see one last? Okay, so the last one is there, so I'll build one on the opposite corner, which would be here. Okay. And Yeah, let's find a space here where we can build some roads. Yeah, we'll do something like that. And we'll build a couple of on-ramps here and here. And that kind of gives us a guide of where we want to continue to demolish the water. So I can kind of start to to build roads so that our zones will take shape. That's not quite what I wanted to do. Yeah, we'll do something like that. Just quick and dirty. Doesn't have to be too pretty. Just build a road into the middle of the zone here, and then we can zone some industrial. Okay. Gotta make sure the power's all hooked up. And I'm also gonna replace some of these zones that I destroyed here. And make sure everything has power. Cool. All right. And I see this road here, so let's build up to here, using that as our guide. All right. So I'll build a road like that. And lay down some zones. All right. Now we'll start the simulation on the lowest speed. And let's do a little bit of work on our water grid. Doesn't have to be perfect, but at least we can leave it a little bit better than how we found it. Taking a look at our industrial population, holding steady at 37,000. Put an on-ramp here. And this will be the final stretch of land that we develop on the waterfront, so let's do that. Okay. And we'll rezone that, and we'll zone this. Hook everything up to power. And we watch as everything develops. Now I'm just going to go around and fill in any gaps. yeah, things are looking pretty good. Just gonna make sure that this zone has power so it doesn't have to develop from right to left. Now everything can develop without the right side developing first. Just a little trick to get things growing a bit faster. And I don't like how all these extraneous power lines look, so I'm just going to delete the ones we don't need. There we go. Much better. Yeah, let's do the same thing as I explained over here. Do a little bit of work on the pipes, but I'm not gonna drive myself crazy trying to hook everything up to water. Oh no, our copter went down. I thought I turned off disasters. So, you know what I think happened? I may have inadvertently clicked on the helicopter while I was panning around the map. And when you do that, it's kind of like an Easter egg in this game. It will shoot down the helicopter. So, you need to be careful when panning around. But I'm just going to take care of these fires real quick, just like that. There we go. I just want to fix this area up, restore it to its former glory. Or, you know what, actually, let's do something even better. I'm going to use this space for something else. And to commemorate the lives lost in the helicopter crash, we'll build the Braun Llama Dome. I'm going to build some more water pumps here on these undeveloped zones. Since they're too far from roads anyway to develop, I'll just replace it with water pumps. Alright, gotta make sure that it's hooked up to the rest of the city's grid. Or what actually exists of the city grid. And we'll do a little bit more over here. Out of money again, but it's December, so I'm not too worried. So I did see that we do need another fire department. So I'm going to take a look at the map here, and it looks like we have a gap in our coverage right around here. I'm seeing, I just noticed this train station here that's not beside any rail. Oh man, it happened again? That should take care of that. Where's the fire? What the heck? This game is tripping. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was all about. Anyway, minor setback. All right. Is this where I wanted to build a fire station? Let me have a look. Kind of. Close enough. There. Now there won't be any more fires there. Looks like our industrial population has reached 40,000. Only 4K to go. Let's lower our industrial taxes to 5%, since we're making a healthy profit. And our zones are still developing, so we should continue to see an increase in the population. Did I not power that? Oh. I should have noticed that. There we go. And that's Chicago. Yeah, a bit of a longer scenario. Looks like I've been recording for just under an hour. And yeah, that's a pretty fun one. The only unfun thing about it is the water grid. But as you can see, you don't really need to do too much to beat the scenario. There we go. A nice statue. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.